All right, the Honda Civic Type R FL5 is almost perfect from the factory, and I'd be lying to you if I'm gonna tell you I'm not gonna modify this car, but we need to go ahead and start putting some light modifications on this. Specifically, we need to go ahead and do some protection modifications. So right here, we got the Honda OEM black locking lug nuts right here. This will make me feel a lot better parking this vehicle. So I bought this pre-owned. These things are in phenomenal shape. Anyhow, this is the same wheel locks that's utilized on the Honda Odyssey, Pilot, Passport, and Ridgeline, because the Type R has the same lug nuts. So I've got my breaker bar right here, and I've got my torque wrench. This torque wrench is set to 94 foot-pounds, by the way. So let's go ahead and take off one lug nut on each wheel, and then we'll go ahead and place it with a locking lug nut. All right, guys, go ahead and call me paranoid, but I went ahead and picked up a second set of some Honda OEM black wheel locks. Now, these black wheel locks are specific for the Honda Odyssey, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline, and Civic Type R. I believe these lug nuts are M12 by 1.5 and typical 5 by 1143 Honda wheels are M10 by 1.5. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull another lug nut off these wheels and go ahead and install these wheel locks. As you can see, 4 wheel locks, you got the key, and then there's a bag on the inside there. Now, if you guys are interested in picking up a Honda OEM wheel lock set for your Honda Civic Type R, there's the part number for your reference. Okay, so I got the breaker bar, the extension, and the torque wrench already pulled out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the wheel locks on the Civic Type R. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. And the next protection modification is a rear trunk tray. Now, I believe this is specific to the Type R. You could probably put this in the Civic Sport hatchbacks. They'll just have the Type R right there. Anyhow, that's the part number in case you're interested in getting one for your FL5. Now, I ordered this trunk tray from my salesman after we made the deal on the car. So he gave me a discounted rate, which I'm very happy with. Okay, so let me go ahead and take the plastic off of this trunk tray, put it in position. And I need to show you guys something because I think there's a modification that needs to be done, especially for the Type R. Okay, I went ahead and left the trunk tray in the plastic just so it wouldn't collect dirt off the ground. Anyways, here's the modification I'm talking about. So I don't know if you can see this little pocket flap right here. And this is the Bose subwoofer that's in the passenger rear corner of the car. As you can see, this flap is basically being pushed out. And I think this model is for FL5s without the Bose subwoofer. So I'm not sure if the Japanese Type R has the Bose subwoofer back here or not. But anyways, I read that you actually have to trim right here. So there's a line that you have to take a razor blade and just carefully make that cut right there. So I'm gonna go ahead, carefully trim this with a razor blade, put this back in position because this just doesn't look right here. Because this trunk mat can't lay flush against that subwoofer right there. So let me go ahead and take a razor blade and take care of this. Alrighty, the Honda OEM trunk tray for the Civic Type R fits pretty good. Made the modifications over here on the back passenger side, and now there's no interference with the rear subwoofer for the Bose system. So I did a careful cut right there, started with a razor blade, finished up with scissors, but just take your time on that cut right there. Okay, now one thing I did notice in the Civic Type R FL5 trunk area, underneath this protective cover right here, pull up the floorboard. See if I can grab that latch right there. pull up on this. And sure enough, there's no spare tire. There's an inflator kit, probably a plug kit in there, and it looks like you got a tow hook. So this is not going to work for long distances, especially on road trips. So we need to go ahead and fix this with a spare tire. So we'll get to that later. Anyways, this rear OEM trunk tray for the FL5 Type R looks phenomenal. I mean, I didn't like making that cut right there by the subwoofer, but it is what it is. But the Type R letters right there really sets it apart. What do you guys think? You like this trunk tray? Okay, continue on with the protection modifications. These are the OEM floor mats that came with the Type R. Obviously, this is a red carpet mat. I don't think these are going to provide much protection as opposed to like the sidewalls and of course the rear carpet, how it goes over that main hump. So this is going to have minimal protection. Plus, I think these mats are a little on the thin side, and I can see, you know, basically your heel when you're driving, just wearing a hole in these things. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on these things in plastic. I'm not going to open them up, so I want to go ahead and provide some better protection. So with that said, I got some 3D Max Spider floor mats from Amazon. Okay, so taking a look at the passenger front floor mat, this is like a rubberized texture right here, and it's got a lot of bumps and stuff, so I guess it can hold a lot of dirt and debris. And then when you clean this thing, I guess you can just hose this thing down, put some soap on there and just scrub with a brush and hose it off. But you know, I guess it's going to be a lot more durable than the red carpet mats that came with the car. And then taking a look at the rear floor mat, as you can see, this is all one continuous piece, so you got that hump protection right there, as opposed to the OEM mats, which basically have a rectangle here and a rectangle there. So it's great for some rear passengers. And then here is the driver's side mat. Obviously you got the holes right here that go with the pins, and you got this little 3D emblem right there. I don't know, maybe you can pull this off if you want. And then you got your heel pad right there, so I guess to provide additional strength from when you're driving. And then here are some grommet caps. It comes with 4 of them. So I guess when you put these floor mats in the Honda Civic, I guess you can take these caps and basically just push them in place. And that way dirt and debris doesn't get in these holes right there, and it makes it for a nice cleaner look. And without further ado, let's go ahead and install these Max Spider 3D floor mats in the FL5 Type R and see how these things fit. Alrighty guys, that wraps up today's video on the small modifications on the Civic Type R FL5. First and foremost, got the carpets protected with those aftermarket 3D Max Spider mats from Amazon. They're pretty good floor mats, and I think they're a little bit better than the OEM and the ones that came on the FL5 Type R, which are actually red carpet. They're very thin, so I can see those things wearing out pretty quick. And then wheel locks. Wheel locks are kind of a controversial thing. I think it's a good precaution, and now that each wheel's got 2 of them on there, I feel a little better parking this thing at the gym and the grocery store and whatnot, because last thing I want to do is come out to a car sitting on blocks. And last but not least, got the Honda OEM trunk liner protecting the trunk carpet, and it got that awesome Type R logo right there on the floor. So when you open up that rear hatch, you definitely know that you got Type R. There's just a small modification you need to do. Basically just make that cut right there on the edge where it butts up to the subwoofer. So I presume that that trunk liner is sold overseas for other models without that subwoofer, but it's just a small modification, so just go ahead and take your time on that. Now essentially these are protection modifications on the FL5 Type R for the carpet, for the wheels, and the trunk area. And we got a lot more planned for this car, so I hope you guys can stay tuned. And if you guys like the updates on the FL5 Type R, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic day.